Now, as for the province's plan to reopen our economy, we turn now to our Cynthia Mulligan. And Cynthia, can you tell us what we know about what it'll take to get back to normal? And do we have any idea about when that might be?
Well, actually, we do not have an idea on when, Janella. The Ford government released its framework for reopening the economy in Ontario. It's going to be a slow and cautious approach and will unfold in 3 stages, each one lasting 2 to 4 weeks to assess the impact. Now, the document they released today is short on details and timing, but the province wants to see a consistent 2 to 4 week decrease in cases before easing the restrictions. And the Premier warns life may never go back to normal.
Until we get a vaccine for this virus, and it's a little ways off, I don't think it's going to be 100% normal. It won't go. I don't think it will ever go back to where it was before because our lives have changed.
But ever so slowly and cautiously, the government will start easing restrictions. It just doesn't know when yet. Doug Ford called the framework a roadmap, not a calendar. Stage 1 will have unidentified select workplaces opening, as well as more parks, and a greater number of people will be allowed to gather for events like funerals, while non-emergency surgeries will begin to resume.
Specifically, cancer surgeries, we know that there is a big backlog of those cases outstanding.
Stage 2 and 3 will lift the restrictions even further. But before Stage 1 can even begin, certain criteria must be met, namely fewer cases, available hospital capacity, more testing, and public health must be able to contact most new cases within a day.
No one wants the economy to open up more than I do.
Doug Ford has said he's been under pressure to start easing restrictions.
I'm also wondering if you're under increased pressure when you look at countries like Italy that was so hard hit, and yet it's easing restrictions starting May 4th.
We aren't going to be rushed into anything. The health and well-being of the province is the #1 priority. I just don't want to go out there and start setting dates and we see a spike and then all of a sudden we have to slow things down. Let's just get it right the first time.
But getting it right the first time means concerts and sporting events will be restricted for the foreseeable future.
I don't believe when sports come back, they're going to come back with a full stadium anywhere in North America. I think there'll be empty stadiums at the beginning.
Now, another factor in reopening the economy, of course, is childcare and schools. Yesterday, the province said schools will remain closed until at least the end of May. Nothing more specific is laid out in the plan from today. Although the last 3 days have seen a drop in new cases, there's still a ways to go before restrictions can be eased. Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. David Williams, wants to see daily community spread drop well under 200 a day before he would recommend easing up. Today, he estimated 50 to 60% of all new cases are still coming from within the community. At the high end, that would be 254 cases. So people aren't necessarily listening to all the rules.